viewability. Okay, hi, this is Kathy at the front again, and I'm speaking with Mark and Petra Zinniker at Elkhorn, Wisconsin at their farm. And it's a biodynamic farm, and I think that's kind of an interesting thing for our viewers to know a little bit more about. And could you give me a short summary of what would be different in a biodynamic farm?
Well, Petra's probably better at giving a good definition, but it's, I guess, treating the farm as a whole organism, trying to keep everything as a closed system, fertility-wise, and ideally, with the consumers too, that would be ideal. In the ideal situation, you would have this community. The farm supports the community, and vice versa, and looking at fertility differently, as far as trying to keep that loop closed, that you are cycling your nutrients instead of shipping them off and bringing nutrients, shipping off your grain or hay or whatever, and then buying your nutrients back because you shipped them off. And obviously in the current system, that only works to a point.
But it's also about, like Mark said, the farm organism as a whole. So you're trying to incorporate natural habitats into your farm too. So I mean, you have your farm, your fields, your livestock, but you also things like borders and streams and wildlife is also looked at as part of the whole organism, and without which something is missing. And then the biodynamic farming practices then includes certain remedies to help support that system. It's kind of like the preparations are kind of like using homeopathic remedies on a larger scale on your whole farm.
Wow. And
so they're brought out. There's certain field sprays and that are brought out on the soil and onto the crops, and also for the compost we have specific herbal preparations that are put into the compost in a very, very minute concentration. That's why I always like to compare it to homeopathics, because I think that is a principle that people understand what it's about. You have these minute concentrations to heal something, and they're all kind of geared towards enhancing the life of the compost and the life of the soil, and which is then, feeding into the growth of the plants, the feeding of the animals, going back to the compost pile with the manure, and so hopefully you'll have this circle of fertility that keeps growing. So that's one main part of the biodynamic way of keeping fertility, long-term
fertility or sustainability, I think, on this farm and in biodynamics in general, is a very important aspect.